Hello, what is up, everyone? Welcome to Records and Rants. Really big show today, and I have to say this first before we even start. We've got a lot of new subs and viewers, so welcome to the show. We're going to do a few shout-outs to you guys really quick, but I can't do it without Dixon. How are you?
Nice. Great to be back. Little unforeseen technical difficulties.
Yeah.
So this is an unorthodox recording day for us.
Yeah, it is. Usually we record on Wednesdays, upload by the weekend if we get the tech team in line. But yeah, we had yesterday my headset just stopped working out of nowhere.
And a little preview, it didn't bring us any joy. But it brought us some division, which we'll get into later. But like you said, we got some shout outs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you guys don't know, every time someone comments, we bring it up and respond or talk about it in the next episode. So,
So on our
you go ahead.
Yeah, I'll say on our Rolling Stones top 200 singers list.
Yeah,
Andrew Fisher said Bob Dylan above Elvis. Haha, oh dear. Just ignore Rolling Stone. Valid assessment for sure.
I was gonna say, how do you feel about that? Because you're kind of stuck in the middle on this one because you're a huge fan of both, honestly.
I am. I'm in both camps. I think from a performance standpoint, voice standpoint, quality standpoint, Elvis over Bob Dylan. But once again, Bob Dylan has range to edit and change as he wishes. So yeah, but no, valid point from Andy Fisher down there.
Yeah, no,
shout out to Andrew.
Shout out to Andrew. Big ups to you. But I think he does kind of have a point here. I mean, I think Elvis's voice moves me in a way that Bob Dylan's doesn't. But I feel like
yes,
I hate to say this, but if I had to ask like who was more creative, I guess with their vocal arrangement, I guess I could say Bob Dylan.
Right.
But I mean, you can't deny Elvis's greatness, so I understand where he's coming from.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like you said, we got a bunch of new subs. Shout out to those guys, and that seemed to be a result of our latest episode. Are the Smiths the greatest band of all time? A question that you posed. You had never listened to the Smiths before.
Never.
You fell in love with the Smiths and Morrissey. Now Paul Achawantakul replied back just a simple yes.
Yeah, I know.
They are the best band of all time.
Yeah, he solved the whole thing. Like, don't even have to watch the video. Yes.
Yes.
It's just yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So shout out to Noah Poll, and then our buddy Ricky. Just discovered y'all, and I gotta say I enjoyed the show. Smiley face. P.S. If I had to get one Smiths record, this goes out to you, Ice.
Yeah,
I would get their debut album or The Queen Is Dead.
Yeah, and I'm definitely gonna take that to heart. I'm gonna have to listen. Now, what do you think about that, Dixon? Because I know you're a big Smiths guy. So would you agree with that?
Those are two solid. Yeah, those are two solid picks, definitely. Like I said, their catalog is accessible. If you're gonna start and say, okay, I got to get one record, debut album would be good. Queen Is Dead is good, but their catalog is so accessible. If had 4 albums, you could definitely go one by one. If you had to.
For sure, yeah. Like I could see in the future me just having all of their records at some point.
Right.
But I mean, like we were saying before, I've kind of tried to tone down my purchasing of records, and so I pick them up at like a little at a time. So, but yeah, I could definitely see me having their whole discography at some point.
Excellent. Yeah, no, absolutely. So shout out to you guys.
There was one more guy, Mr.
Go for it.
Jen, I'm sorry, I'm really not pronouncing this correctly. I can't really pronounce her name. January Hayes.
Okay.
But she said, ignore Rolling Stone list. It's a garbage list. MJ should be at number 5 or 3.
Yeah, that's yeah. His fans are so passionate. I could definitely see that.
Yeah, no, I could see that too. I mean, he's a great singer, a great vocalist. But again, the Rolling Stone list was bizarre in the way that they gave the criteria for it. Because like they came out and said singers, and they're like, well, it's not really a top singers list. It's like, what's going on over there?
Yeah, it's voice. It's not voice. What was it? It's voices or not voices. There was some kind of weird abstract idea that they used.
Yeah, and then we deduced that they really just meant artists. But
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, who knows what's going on over there? I mean,
I
there's
know.
still drama with that. So I'm honestly looking forward to the next time they release a list because
Yeah,
we'll be able
because
to.
they've released an
Yeah,
artist list too. So
that's what
that
I'm
should
saying.
be updated as well if we're going. But once again, is this artists or singers? We don't know.
Yeah,
Wait,
we don't.
stay tuned.
Yeah, we don't know. We have no idea. Who knows what's going on?
Yeah, but as the comments are leading you to believe, maybe take the Rolling Stone list with a grain of salt for the
Yeah,
200 greatest singers.
yeah, absolutely. That's our message with that.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to this episode.
Oh boy, I'm sure you are, and I'm kind of worried about it. I'm actually like sweating. I'm nervous over here.
Oh, don't be nervous.
Well, I mean, I know there's a lot of passionate fans out there, and I didn't realize this about this band. So, in case you didn't pick up Dixon's hint at the beginning of the show, we are going to be discussing the band Joy Division, and it's my first time ever listening to them.
Right.
Um,
And yeah.
there's actually a funny story behind this, and Dixon, I know you said you
Oh, that's
remembered the whole
right.
thing, so
Yeah.
I don't know if you want
Yeah.
to hint the viewers on to where this all came from, where this all started.
Yeah, I was thinking we would stay across the pond to go with our Smiths
Hmm.
breakdown and then kind of get into Joy Division as well. Stay in that kind of same realm. But a few years ago, Ice and I were together in person, and he walked out of wherever he was, and I saw him for the first time, and he had a yellow T-shirt on with the logo, the album artwork for Joy Division's first album, Unknown Pleasures, and it said Joy Division on the bottom. And I said, "Oh, cool shirt. I like it." He's like, "Oh, thanks." So it was like a couple minutes later, we're like standing around, whatever, and I'm like, "Yeah, I like Joy Division. I like their music." And you go, "Oh, I was wondering if that was like a band or something, because like I didn't know for sure, but like I had an idea, like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know they were a band." So you were, now, not to be cliche, but you'd be like one of these guys, like, "Oh, name 5 songs right now if you had
Yeah,
to," Yeah.
exactly. So I was that guy. I was
Yeah.
that jackass that is wearing a band shirt that has never listened to the band of the shirt that I'm wearing. And but the funny thing is that I didn't even know that it was a band. I thought so. I got it from
Right.
H&M, right? And H&M
Right.
puts all these weird like
Yeah, it's funky stuff.
sayings. Yeah, it's weird stuff. So I thought like Joy Division, it was just like some kind of weird phrase or logo that they put on their shirt.
Which
But
is valid. It's very possible.
yeah, right. But I love the artwork on it. I love that that waveform kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
So here's a little bit of a background on that.
yeah.
Cover artwork was designed. This is from Wikipedia. The cover artwork was designed by artist Peter Seville using a data plot of signals from a radio pulsar.
Yeah, I saw that. That's pretty interesting. I think it's pretty
Cool.
pretty abstract, honestly. But
Yeah,
it's probably one of the coolest album artworks that I've seen.
definitely. And I think
Yeah,
that album artwork, you're not alone, because that's just it's a cool graphic.
yeah,
I think that Joy
absolutely.
Division is almost in that realm, like kind of like Nirvana, kind of like the Misfits, where people are more drawn to the shirt, maybe without actually celebrating the music, if they're so inclined, or maybe they heard of them, or maybe they're like, oh, this is cool, I'm gonna wear it.
Oh yeah, sure. But
Yeah.
in listening to this music and going into the links that you had sent to me, I realized that Joy Division has a massive following.
Yeah, they definitely have a cult status. They've gotten popular as years have gone on. They and you'll break down the list too, because I sent you some, just a taste, just to get an idea. But I sent you some, I think some of the key tenets of Joy Division's catalog, but a couple of early songs from New Order. And
Yes.
right, and so Joy Division released 2 albums. Their frontman Ian Curtis killed himself,
Hmm.
before, on the eve of their first North American tour. So Unknown Pleasures was the only Joy Division album released while he was still alive, and the remaining members went on to perform New Order. And I think it's fair to say that the early stuff I sent you, like the song Ceremony I sent you, that was a Joy Division song, and they just happened to release it. I think it's fair to say
Yeah.
that that's what Joy Division would have sounded like had they continued on with Ian Curtis.
Sure. So you're saying that was released right after his death. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
Unknown Pleasures was released before, and then the second album, Closer,
Yeah.
was released after his suicide, and then New Order, the remaining members of the band, three other guys, went on to form New Order. So that like their first album came out in 1980.
Yeah, and so Joy Division was relatively a short-lived band. I mean, again, unfortunately because of the death of the frontman, but it was only
Mhm.
1976 to 1980, which is, again, a relatively
Right.
short lifespan for a band.
Right.
Um, but New Order has gone on from 1980 till the present. I mean, well,
Yeah.
they had some breaks here and there, but I mean, they're still going.
Yeah. No, sorry. Their first album came out in 1981.
Okay.
Don't quote me in the comments, but yes. So it's funny because I haven't delved a whole lot into New Order's later catalog, but I've heard people talk about New Order standalone without mentioning Joy Division. So they've had their
Yeah.
own, kind of impact.
Exactly. So would you say that they've separated
Yeah.
themselves, I guess, from Joy Division at this point, or do you think everyone?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's just because
Yeah.
they've been around for so long that maybe it's kind of
Yeah.
separated, and maybe people don't remember. Um,
Right.
they might not know the roots, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And kind of diving into this stuff, I was kind of surprised at that because I really wasn't 100% certain that's what happened because New Order has been around for forever. So that was surprising to me that it was kind of a rebirth, which I kind of knew, but I didn't really. So yeah, that was definitely interesting. So I think that New Order's kind of marched on their own, doing their own
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, no, definitely, and because when I was looking at this list, and again, to everyone out there, I've never listened to Joy Division. I just had the shirt unknowingly, and I hadn't never listened to any songs. So if
What
some guy
happened to that
came up
shirt?
and said name 5 songs, I would be standing there with the dumb look on my face, saying, "Oh, I don't know." But yeah, you added them on the list. I'm like, what is this New Order thing? But
Yeah.
I guess I'll give everyone the list because we like to do this just so everyone knows
Hmm.
where we're coming from. So this is
Right.
from Joy Division. So Level Tear Us Apart, Transmission, Disorder, Atmosphere, and then he gave me some New Order songs. Doubts Even Here, Ceremony, and New Dawn Fades. Oh, and he also gave me another Joy Division song, In a Lonely Place, which is a very
Yeah.
interesting one, which I mean, we'll talk about.
Right.
But yeah, so I guess we'll just dive into this, and I just uh, I'm scared to say what I'm gonna say, but
Oh my
I guess
gosh,
but
this
I
is
guess
huge.
but I guess I have to say it.
Okay.
I honestly I enjoyed the music of Joy Division.
Uh-huh.
However,
Okay.
I was not a huge fan of the vocals.
Okay.
And I've actually seen this before. People have, at least on Reddit, I mean, whatever, it's Reddit, but a lot of people say Ian Curtis brought the band down because of his
Wow.
vocals. Yeah, I mean, that's harsh. I'm not saying that. I never said that. Other people have said that, but they're saying that Ian Curtis has brought Joy Division down, which in my opinion is a stupid argument because they're so friggin' popular and they have such a following that I would say
Right.
that Ian Curtis helped them out. Um, and maybe it's just not for me, but I mean, if you ask me if he was a good singer, I would have to say no. And I hate that I have to say that because I love this music,
Right.
but I have to say that in my opinion, Ian Curtis is not a good singer.
Yeah.
I
No.
have a follow up to that. But what do you think about that bombshell?
I think that makes sense, and I think the reason for it is that you like the music, the vocals are suspect for you. I think that makes sense because they were heavily influenced by the early British punk scene. They were formed, I
Yeah.
think, at a Sex Pistol show. So
Hmm.
you have that punk connection in their music. They're kind of like the first post punk sort of new wave vibe happening. But I think that's intentional. I think a lot of the vocals and the tempo of some of the music is intentional to kind of replicate that punk sound and make it their own into their own genre. I think that's definitely a sound. I think what you're saying makes sense based on sort of that information and knowing where they kind of came from.
So you're saying that his voice emulates what they are trying to what they're trying to be, I guess is what you're saying,
Yeah,
or it emulates a
I think so.
genre, I guess.
I think so. I think I think yes, maybe from a technical standpoint, maybe not the most polished. From a emotion, from a performance standpoint, totally fits in what they're going for, what they want to do, and to match the tempo of their songs. Ian Curtis also really wasn't all that happy of a guy. You
Yeah.
know, he's epileptic. Um, his marriage is failing. He's having an affair with another woman, and he's guilty about it. He had attempted suicide before. And what's interesting, and this is a little tidbit I found out, he was listening to Iggy Pop's album, The Idiot, and which is the title is based on Dostoevsky's novel, The Idiot, which is about an epileptic guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's kind of he's a very leave everything out on the table kind of artist and songwriter and performer. So that just little tidbit I noticed. But like, I don't think Ian Curtis, contrary to the name, I don't think he had a whole lot of joy in his life,
Yeah. I mean,
self-inflicted or not.
yeah,
Yeah,
unfortunately, and yeah, like
yeah,
like what you said, and I could even see that in the video. So when I was watching these videos, I mean, he looks like he's sad. I mean,
right.
it doesn't look like it's an act, I guess you could say. I feel like when he's singing these songs, that his his tone and voice and everything matches what he's trying to convey. I feel like, and I hate to trash on him for the vocals, but I think he's conveying his feelings through
Mm-hmm.
how he sounds. And so I went on Reddit, and it was actually on this subreddit called Unpopular Opinion, and they said
Okay.
Joy Division is a great band with a bad singer.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
And someone retaliated with, or they had a rebuttal that said yes, he is technically mediocre. I cannot disagree with that. However, and this is exactly what you just said, his singing style perfectly conveys the message behind his words: apathy, angst, fear, pain, and depression.
Wow. Is there an echo in here? I feel like that's what we just said. That's
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, so what I'm saying
Yeah.
is
That makes
people
sense.
agree,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah,
That's
so
yeah.
yeah, I think you have a great point in that, and I would agree with that as well.
Okay.
I don't think it holds them back at all. And
Right.
again, I'm I'm a little subjective again when it comes to my ratings and everything
Sure.
like that. But I would agree with this, and I did really enjoy these songs. Some of them were a little weird, a little maybe
Yeah.
too depressing for me. But I really appreciated it, and it had that British, like, kind of rock, pop, punk, or whatever you want to call it, vibe to it, but a little toned down, I guess. But
Yeah.
I overall
Definitely.
I did enjoy it. Obviously not as much as the Smiths, but I think the Smiths is in, they're maybe a little different mood. I feel like their music is maybe a little more upbeat, but
Yeah. They kind of make what Ian Curtis is talking about and what he's writing about a little bit more accessible. The Smiths are kind of on
yes,
that same plane, and they make it a little bit more accessible. And they also kind of are in that. They're part of their performance, part of their vibe is that, okay, well, you know what, maybe this is how it is, but let's make it sound halfway good. A little bit more
yeah,
bubbly.
yeah.
We're all angry, we're all depressed, we're all kind of angsty, but hey, guess what, we're gonna have a good time kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And yeah, they have a lot of. I mean, a lot of this music is pretty fast, especially the drums.
Yes.
You had Terry. I looked this up. Terry. They had a few different drummers. Terry Mason, Tony Tabak, and Stephen Brotherdale. But I mean, the drum lines, like the drum beats. I mean, they're ripping on those. It's
Yeah.
a fantastic drum performance, and I feel like that really carries the
Yeah.
obviously the beat of the song, but I mean, it sets the tone, it sets the movement, it sets you up to be like up in your seat or laying down depressed, I guess is what you could say.
Right.
So it's
Right.
like
You can see, yeah, absolutely. You can see that punk influence on those drums, 100%.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
the punk influence on the guitar and the music and the drums,
Hmm.
it's like this push and pull between that melody and that music and that beat. And
Right.
then you have Ian Curtis singing, and it's depressing. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. It's a whole range. It's a whole roller coaster of things that are coming together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. By the way, again, I don't. to misspeak here or anything, but it looked like Terry Mason and I guess Stephen Morris were the main drummers in the band. It looks like Tony and Steve were only there for a little while, not even a year, but yeah, just to clear that up. But anyway, yeah, so I guess that's kind of how I felt overall with these songs. Would you have a favorite song out of this list that you gave me? Because it was tough for me to pick one out.
I hate to be the cliche. I hate to be the walking T-shirt, but the song "Love Will Tear Us Apart" is just because it's. I mean, it's except for you. I feel like everybody knows that song.
Yeah, except for
like
me, yeah. Of course, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's turned on a whole generation of Joy Division fans, but also I think it encapsulates Ian Curtis's brief career, his life perfectly.
Yeah.
Love will tear us apart again. I mean, it's spot on, and it's the truth. And what do we have in our lives if we're missing love, if we're missing some kind of companionship, if we're missing love, whether it be physical, whether it be mental, whether it be in a project you're doing, you need something to kind of keep you going, and that's where he kind of felt, at least, he was lacking, or he felt guilt about what he was feeling, those kinds of things. I think that Joy Division specifically, not going into New Order, I think that it sums up their short career, I think, perfectly.
Wow. Yeah, and I understand what you're saying. I enjoyed that song as well. But honestly, my favorite.
I'm glad that's not your favorite. I'm glad.
No, that's yeah. Awesome. My favorite was actually New Dawn Fades. I put, I said the best Joy Division song out of the list, and I actually noted the vocals, and I felt like this was one of Ian's best performances here. But one of the lyrics, it was "A loaded gun won't set you free." I thought that was kind of haunting and kind of tragic in a way, based on what happened. But
yes,
I mean,
100%.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. That was probably my favorite song out of the whole list. But in A Lonely Place, that was another song that was very bizarre and creepy to me. That was probably
different. Yes.
Yeah, I could see it set to like some weird creepy show or something like that. It was
right.
It was an experience though, which I kind of enjoyed at the same time.
No, absolutely. That's definitely one of those. I think that was a little bit of a sort of a departure. Still you have Ian there. You have him doing his thing.
Yeah.
But like you said, like kind of like a haunting, and it's weird because you could listen to these songs and you could kind of figure out that unfortunately things weren't going well. That there was a lack there. I think that's not an exception on that song either. But yeah, I like that too. Like I said, it's kind of like it would be like a specific tune you could hear, something kind of like putting you on edge, like a psychological thing.
It's like a psychological experience more than anything. I guess I don't know who would sit here and listen to this, honestly. And again, I don't want to disparage. Excuse me. I don't want to disparage the art that's happening here, but I just can't picture myself listening to that song. At least I can't picture myself putting that on. Be like, oh, I'm going to relax to this. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I hear you. And it's funny because going back to one of our first album reviews, and I think these are two bands we could do this with: the Smiths and Joy Division. You listened to the National previously, said this is like way too over the top, not really for me. That's kind of, we're heading more into National territory with Joy Division.
Yes.
Like we're going to keep it like a modern, like a reference point compared to the Smiths. So I could see that definitely.
Yeah, I feel like this is it's definitely moving more towards the National. Not quite there yet, but it's getting there. I almost want to revisit the National because that was over a year ago. I think that I listened to that album.
Yeah, I think so.
I might want to. Maybe we'll go back and listen to something else. But
we could always pull one. But what's cool too is that as we were big electronic fans, I kind of like some of the electronic vibes that were on a lot of their stuff. They're kind of blending that punk, post-punk, new wave, and electronic stuff with it.
Yeah, no, that was pretty cool. It's always nice to see like influences and like things getting modernized, as long as it doesn't ruin the overall image of what the artist is trying to represent, because I mean sometimes you get a lot of new things that are put in a song and it just kind of shits the bed, I guess, essentially, for lack of a better
Yeah,
word. But no,
that's true.
yeah, I did enjoy it. Now let me ask you this, because
Oh, here we go.
the New Order songs,
Yes.
um I enjoyed, but which which band, I guess I want to ask, which band would you like more, New Order or Joy Division, if you had to pick?
If I had to pick, geez, that's tough.
Yeah.
You know, I think I'm going with Joy Division because of what they were doing, what they accomplished in 2 years.
Hmm.
I mean, you listen to The Cure, you listen to oh shoot, what's that band? I just read it on Wikipedia too. And I'm like, oh, it's perfect. Yeah, Block Party. They're like you could totally see connections there, and you could see influences on you know British music that came after them, shortly after them, and then on into modern eras. So I think as a band, when we're considering influence, or we're considering what they were doing, what they did in their short period, considering Ian Curtis's vocals and his writing and the blending of the different genres together, I think you have to go
Yeah,
with Joy Division.
I understand. So it's just they're more influential, I guess
Yeah,
you could say. They had more of
right.
an impact. Yeah, no, I would agree. And just with the little glimpse that I had into the Joy Division world, and watching the videos that you sent me, with all the music and the music videos and all that, people really care about this band, and they're highly
Right.
influenced by it. And they're you have diehard people that have been listening to this for decades.
Right.
So I could really appreciate the influence that they've had and how they touch so many people. And
Right.
again, you listen to this music, and there's no denying that that it's not great.
Right.
So I don't know. It'd be tough for me, just as an outsider looking in, to pick. If I had
Right.
to, though, I would say New Order, just based on the fact that I like the vocalist more.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I
That's
feel like
definitely something you
it's
said for it too.
yeah, and I feel like it
Yeah.
kind of still is in the same vein of Joy Division. I feel like it's just carrying on that legacy. Maybe not
Sure.
exactly the same, but I mean, obviously, you see all the influences from Joy Division in New Order.
Right.
It's just a fact that I enjoy the vocalist, Bernard Summer, a little more than I did with Ian. So that if I had to pick again, I would say New Order. And I'm sorry to everyone out there. I'll just say that. I'll
Yeah.
apologize
No,
right off the bat.
no, it's valid. That's definitely valid. There's something we said for that too. You know, and I always talk about this too. We try to be as objective as I try to be as objective as possible when like it comes to like ranking things.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I think an objective rating of like the greatest band of all time has to be the Rolling Stones. Longevity, most albums, most
Hmm.
tours, influence, all those kinds of things. I think the fact that New Order has longevity, they're consistent, they've carried on a legacy, and they've dabbled a little bit and they added some different layers. They're still kind of true to that legacy, that post punk, that new wave, kind of created that signature British sound you were talking about.
Yeah.
And so there's definitely something to be said for that too. I think New Order is definitely solid. Like I said, New Order stands on their own. Like I'm familiar with New Order. I'm familiar with Joy Division, and was aware of that connection, but really wasn't aware of that connection. You know what I mean? So they definitely
Hmm.
stand on their own. So there's definitely something to be said for your assessment.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and again, I think they're both great bands. I just prefer one a little bit more than the other. Now, if I had to rate these guys,
Right.
I would say
Now remind us of your rating system.
okay.
'Cause I forget.
So it's a 1 through 5 in
Right.
.5 increments. Okay, so
Okay.
and if you get like a 0, then it's the worst thing ever. But I
Okay.
would have to rate, and you criticized me before for being a little too subjective, which I would totally agree, because literally it's all based off my feelings,
I guess
Um,
that's true. There should be some of that. I think there should be, but you're fair. You appreciate, maybe it's production value, maybe it's
yes,
legacy. You factor in that stuff, I think too. So I get where you're coming from.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I would have to say that I'm gonna lump them together, because in my mind, I guess I just want to do that because I want to pull them apart. I think they've both had the longevity, and I did enjoy them similarly, even if I like New Order a little more because of the vocalist. But I'm gonna say 3.5.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So the
So
Smiths you rate at what, 4.5?
yeah, yeah, I rated them 4.5.
And then what did you rate Dark Side of the Moon? That was like
I think I,
five,
I think I said, I think I said
4.5.
four. I think I said four.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That
Yeah.
was four because the Smiths at this point are the standard at 4.5.
Yes, yes, they are.
Yeah.
I think I can make like an Excel sheet, a breakdown, and just put it up on the screen every time we do something like this. I think that'd be fun. But
But
I think I enjoyed it. It's not my favorite stuff. Maybe I'll listen to a song here or there, but I mean, I've been listening to the Smiths on repeat lately, and
good.
hence the 4.5 because I really really enjoy the music. So yeah, that's where they sit with me. They're above average in my opinion, and I know
Okay.
people are going to hate me for that, but that's just how I see it. I appreciate their artistic outlook. I appreciate the emotion that Ian Curtis puts into the vocals. I mean, it truly is a unique sound. I'll say that. And
Definitely.
just the arrangement, and I think the band works really well together. So that's
Yeah.
where
They
I'd
have
rate them.
synergy.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
synergy, absolutely. So yeah, I'd say 3.5.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's solid. That's fair. Based on your rating system, I think that's fair.
Mm.
And that's a good point. I think mine was out of like, I wanted a little bit more leeway. I think it was out of like 13.
You, yeah, you did say
But,
13.
but if let's stick to 10. I think we decided last week we'll stick to 10. So
Yes.
because I feel like I need a little bit more on the back end to kind of give me some breathing room. I think if albums like Pet Sounds, Smile for me are on the high end of 9, 9.75, 10, verging into 10 territory,
Mhm.
and one is just like I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard anything that's a one. I'd say like I think Joy Division is up there. I think they're a really solid six.
Okay.
Which is I think they're a solid six considering the impact. Considering, and I think we laugh about it. I think you have to consider the fact that there's a whole generation of Joy Division fans that are wearing T-shirts, like the T-shirt,
Yeah.
the album artwork. I think that's huge. We talk about legacy when it's when people see it, they care. And just for the fact that Joy Division, Ian Curtis in his lyrics perfectly sum up his experience. His blending the
Yes.
genres.
Yes.
Their writing, their music that they said like is multi-layered. You have drums, you have guitar that has that punk influence, then you have Ian Curtis with that sort of baritone, deep voice, kind of evening it out, kind of even
Hmm.
smoothing the edges a little bit. I think that's why they're a solid six.
Yeah, so I guess we're kind of on the
Yeah.
on the same plane there. We both think
Yeah.
they're good,
Yeah.
above average.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I agree. And yeah, just to point on what you said, the fact that they're still selling Joy Division shirts when this band
Right.
is, and I was able to buy one in 2012 or whenever that was, and I was
Right.
wearing it around. I mean, I think that says something.
No, definitely. 100%.
Yeah.
So that's like, and you can't discount the influence. There's a lot of modern bands that you hear with this influence. So yeah, definitely. I appreciate the fact that you're really, I think, growing into your
Yeah.
own.
Oh wow, thank you. No, I think you're. I think the more that I'm being diversified through these
Yeah.
episodes that we do, listening to new music. These are probably my favorite episodes, honestly. But
Mhm.
yeah, like going into this blind and trying to like pick apart what's going on and why you like something or why it is artistically sound or the production, all just looking at everything
Mhm.
from listening to these songs. I really enjoy that. So yeah, I think it's like training, I guess, in a sense. My
Absolutely.
my love for music. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
You went from being a Dave Matthews,
Oh
Jack
yeah.
Johnson boy. What else? What else were you heavy into?
I think that was pretty much it. That was like for the longest
Yeah.
time. I was simply Dave Matthews. I don't even know what else I listened to be honest. You know what? This is a weird thing that happened to me, but right after I got my license, I started listening to like AC/DC and Guns N' Roses
Oh
constantly.
yeah, really?
Yeah,
Wow. I didn't see that.
yeah, no. We didn't even know each other back then, but
Yeah.
yeah, I was like 17, like 16, 17. Yeah, that's all I would listen to. I went through another
Really.
phase like that. Yeah.
And you have a very specific bar playlist. which is
Oh
pretty
yeah,
diverse in reality.
it is,
It
and
really
it's.
is.
We'll have to bring that up one of these shows. I'll have
Yes.
my list, and we could talk about it in a segment or something. But yeah, like what do I have on there? Like Sunshine by Len,
Yeah, by Lead, Boogie Shoes, Casey and the Sunshine Band. That's a big thing.
Chumbawamba.
You really heavy on the '90s one-hit wonders.
I know.
That's really interesting.
Yeah,
What's the other one that you always play? That's that country song.
What?
I could. Oh, it's the one where it's like clapping. Lover, lover, lover.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, yeah. Who's that? I forget what that's. Yeah, lover, or something like that. Yeah, that's another one. I guess I like, because our generation, like, you hear like these '90s one-hit wonders, and everyone kind of like, they're like, oh my god, I haven't heard this song in forever, because you kind of forget about it, but then you hear it again, you're like, oh, this is a jam.
Yeah,
I think I like doing that. But Sunshine always hits. I feel like Sunshine by Len.
That is a solid pick. I remember having that album.
You had that album?
Yeah, I remember buying it. I bought it bootleg in New York City when I was like 8 years old.
Dix, you might be the one person in the world that had that album.
I did. I still have it somewhere. I had that, and I had New Radicals, and
wow,
that was like, yeah, I remember buying the bootleg, and then but you turned me on to Dave Matthews for a little bit. You turned me on to them. I was like listening to this stuff, and I'd show up to a party and be like, "What? Like, what do you want to hear?"
yeah. What?
Brian Wilson.
I'd be like, "What are you talking about?"
Europe '72, Grateful Dead. Do you have any of that?
Oh my god. That's so great. I mean, I know Dave Matthews Band is like kind of a meme, and like some people, joke about it, but I honestly do think that they are, for what they are, I think they're a talented band. I feel like they're a good.
Yeah, they're a good band.
They're like a modern. I don't even want to say modern, but they're like a mainstream jam band. I don't think there's anything wrong with the fact that they're mainstream either, but I don't know. They just have some unique kind of music.
No, they are. I think as a band, they're good. I think they're a good solid band, and he had that whole percussion section, and he has the horns and everything else. I really want to do, speaking of jam bands, I really wanted to try to do like a breakdown on the Grateful Dead, but it's so hard to do because the albums are so. It's all about the live stuff, and they've had so many eras and so many versions and so many. They've evolved. They've never stopped since the '60s. They've never stopped touring. They never stopped releasing stuff. So it's like it's hard to pin down. We'll have to talk about that. We'll have to figure that out.
Yeah,
but I'm thinking too. Yeah, it'd be interesting because you might take to some of their stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And the funny thing, embarrassingly so, actually, is that I used to think that they were a classic rock band. I thought like Grateful Dead. I thought like kind of like the hair band, like headbanging kind of music. That's that's literally what I thought. And then I found out, one of our friends listens to it, and but when you listen to that on a road trip for 5 hours, it gets a little like, have we been listening to the same song for 1 hour?
Yes. One of my other friends, he posted his Spotify Wrapped, and it was like, you listen to the Grateful Dead for like, I don't know, 1,000 minutes, whatever it was. And I commented on like 1,000 minutes and 4 complete songs. Because a lot of stuff does sound like they're kind of tuning up. And after a while, it's like, okay, this is like, it's an acquired taste, and I get it. Yeah. And I get it for the context of it. But after a while, it's like, you know what? I got to put on something else.
Yes. Yeah. And I hate to say it because like it's good music, and then but
it is.
If you're not there experiencing them and like listening to them and possibly under the influence of some kind of drugs. I'm not saying we do that. I'm not saying we ever have. I'm not saying we ever experienced that. But you know that happens at those concerts. I feel like that's the time when when you could really sit for an hour and just listen to them play one single song.
Yeah, I saw different versions of the Dead. I think maybe 3 or 4 times.
Oh, really?
And and I was sober for all but one, and I really didn't notice a difference.
Oh, really? So you just enjoyed it all the way around?
I did, and it's more or less like an experience. They have they have shakedown street little markets set up in front, and they're, you have the people that are trying just to get gas to get to the next show. And there's something really to be said about that. You're like, that's kind of like an
Yeah.
admirable lifestyle. Like kind of like, oh man, that's cool. You know?
No, I know. I think it's cool, and I guess I guess that was kind of rude for me to say, and I don't really mean that. I don't mean you have to be under the influence to enjoy them. What I'm saying is I think you have to be there in front of them.
Right. Yeah. No.
Listening to them in a car is a totally different experience.
Yeah, it's hard to make that connection in that context. Like,
Yeah.
and they encourage taping of their shows. So any show you want to hear, you could hear. And I think the last time I saw them, I actually they were selling the soundboard before the show, and you would pick it up when the show was over. So I have a soundboard from some show they did.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome.
And it was a really good playlist because they played a really good set list. They played a lot of stuff because they're one of those bands you can go one night and have no idea. You have no idea what the heck they're pulling out of their catalog. You have no clue. And then if you go another night, like now Dead and Company is touring with John Mayer, and John Mayer has added a whole different level to that band. He's like incredible with them.
I would love to see it. That's something I would love to see because I think John Mayer is a fantastic musician, fantastic guitarist. He gets a lot of flack
too, but he's definitely good. But I think it's supposed to be their final tour coming up, and the set lists that they've been posting are just like incredible, like what you would want to see if you're going to see a Dead show.
Oh, that's awesome! I bet it's really hard to get tickets to that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that.
Yeah. So, Dix, do you have any ideas for rants here, or because this, in case you guys don't know, folks, this show is called Records and Rants, and after we're done talking about the music, we get into a little rant about something that's either happening or something happened in our lives or anything like that. But I don't know. I don't know if you have anything. I might have something for today in the Andrew Tate, I guess, experience that he they came out with the Vice kind of mini documentary about him.
Andrew Tate?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Oh, you didn't?
I have to check that out. Yeah,
I mean, would you like to talk about it, or do you want to just?
Yeah, let's hear it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So
yeah.
Yeah, we really do these on the fly, guys. So you're watching this happen right now, no script, but
seeing the sausage being made, as they say.
Yeah. But yeah, so I actually watched it. This, whatever you know about Andrew Tate, is this. It gets even weirder from what I've seen. So this Vice reporter got sent to his house to do an article on him, and the guy who's doing the article, the journalist, he poses as a folk singer.
Okay,
and
that's
then
interesting.
Then he gets onto the show, and he's like, "I have to say this. I'm not actually a folk singer. I am, a Vice journalist."
Okay.
But somehow Andrew Tate and his brother already knew about this, like, prior to getting on there. So Andrew Tate's messing with him. He's like, "You said you're a folk singer, so I want you to sing before I do anything." And then, like, so there's all these videos that says, like, Andrew Tate humiliates Vice journalists, and it blows up everywhere. But the most interesting thing to me, and this was very bizarre, is that he has this thing called the War Room. Okay. And he has such dedicated fans that he handpicked 100 of them, who all paid him $5,000 to fly out to this war room, which is this big building complex that he has out in wherever the hell he lives, somewhere in Romania. And they didn't know what they were getting into, and it was some kind of test that he was going to put them through. That's all these guys knew that paid $1,000 or $5,000 to get there.
Okay.
And what it was Andrew Tate, he just walks up there. He's like, "Oh, well, we're going to make you all cage fight against a professional fighter."
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. So
is this legal? Is this legal? Is this a legal thing? Is he paying taxes?
Anything flies in Romania, I guess.
It's true. Yeah, Romania. That's true. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, they were going up some professional Russian, like, bare-knuckle brawler or something in a cage fight. And I'm just like, this is ridiculous. It's kind of, and I've never heard of this before. I never knew that this was a thing, but they had this inside scoop about this, and it's almost like a cult. And a third of the guys that were there actually said, "Yes, I'll do this." So 33 out of the 100 of them actually said, "Oh, yes, Andrew Tate, I will fight for you to prove my manliness to you."
Oh my gosh.
Um, and they did it. The Vice article guy actually did it too. He fought in the ring, which was pretty impressive because this
Wow.
guy didn't look like he would do something like that.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, can you imagine that there's guys out there that will like worship this guy like that?
No,
I,
I
I
no, I can't. I can't. I can't imagine that at all. And it's, what's amazing is that, like, Andrew Tate, I think he's more complex than people get him for, or like give him credit for. I think he has that is personality that just is just grating and annoying.
yeah,
But I think if you delve into it, maybe there's some kind of stuff when it comes to like, um, you know, confidence and going to the gym and all these kinds of things that
yeah,
I think a lot of modern men lack. But then, like when he had that tweet with Greta Thunberg, dude, who the hell cares? Who
exactly,
cares? And like, where are
exactly.
you going? Like, I just don't, I don't get when you stoop to that level. But he has been on that level for a while, to be honest. Like, he's been kind of this kind of trash. I think,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, I feel like the
Yeah,
the facade is falling. I mean, there's all these new
yeah.
allegations of him. Um, like he doesn't even sleep with women. He just chokes them, and then
Oh gosh,
it's yeah, it's kind of really messed up.
what a sicko.
Yeah, he's like the more and more that comes out about him, the more disgusting he is. And not that I ever really liked him in the first place. I mean, I think the
Yeah,
only the only good thing, the only good clips you ever heard from him were you should work out and you should try to better yourself. But
yeah,
it kind of just ends there because then when he starts talking about like relationships and women, then it's pretty much garbage.
yeah.
It's like
It's
medieval. It's like you're living in the medieval times where he has ownership of these women,
yeah,
and but it all makes sense when you hear all these allegations that just came out about how he's abusive.
yeah.
He has women and he takes advantage of them, and he says they stay in my house and they do what I say because they have nowhere else to go because they're out here in Romania and they don't know anyone or know how to
Oh
speak the
my gosh.
language. So he literally just has these women come work for him and he takes money from them, but he convinces them to
Of
come out there.
course.
I mean, that's the big thing. But it's really disgusting, and I'm hoping that we could be just done with this Andrew Tate thing and just
Yeah,
and not have to deal with him anymore because he's been extremely influential, and you hear all these things about these kids that are following him, which is crazy.
yeah. It sounds like in reality he's not really focused on like empowering men that have had like a
Hmm.
hard time or trying to make them better. He just really kind of just hates women. Like in reality.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it's verging into. Yeah.
I mean, and to
Yeah.
go with how he's not actually helping young men or cares about them. He's
Right.
scamming them because he has that Hustler University.
Yeah.
Do you know about this? It's
I've
actually
heard of that. Yeah.
it's actually brilliant what he's doing. So he is banned on most social media, right? But he has this thing
Right.
called Hustlers University, and he says just share my clips and then put a link in that clip that you upload of me
Mhm.
back to Hustlers University. Every time someone clicks on that, you get money.
Oh wow.
But it leads them to Hustlers University where they sign up for Andrew Tate's Hustlers University. So it's a
Okay.
pyramid scheme essentially.
Right. Right.
And you
Right.
pay $50 a month to get the affiliate link and all this stuff. But
Oh jeez.
now he has, think about this. He has an army of fans that
Yeah.
are advertising for him and uploading all of his content on every social media imaginable,
Right.
and he just generates more money through that. It's a brilliant strategy, honestly. And
Yeah. And he doesn't have to do any of the work either.
no,
It's
he
like
doesn't.
it's
He doesn't have to.
this legion of men.
Yeah, he just has a legion of
Yeah.
these sad men that follow him around. So like, it's a brilliant strategy, and he made like he was making like $15 million a month or something like that off of this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's something disgusting. But no, he doesn't care about men who are disaffected in life. Like I mean, full stop. I mean, there's just no evidence for it anymore. He's just a scammer. It just seems. I'm sorry. It seems like he's a scammer, and
Yeah. That's what it seems like.
these allegations seem pretty bad. But yeah, no, I just want to talk about that Vice article because
Yeah. I'm gonna check that out.
that's what came out. No, it is pretty interesting. Like when you actually see it, I honestly couldn't believe what I was seeing. He has an entire operation going on, and he's just living life sitting on his throne. I mean, not anymore because he's in jail, but I mean, he
Yeah, right.
he is just he's taking these guys' money and manipulating them and just playing against their manhood, kind of saying you're not a man unless you do what I say, and
Unless you do it.
Yeah.
It's the perfect ploy.
it's
Yeah.
bizarre. Yeah. So anyway, guys,
So
if you no, what were you gonna
Yeah.
say?
I was say, so if you take these clips and upload them, we will give you a shout out
Yeah,
as part of the I&D University.
Yeah, so upload it and we'll give you the affiliate link and you get 1 cent per click and just funnel it all to us. So
Oh my gosh, what an operation.
I know it's truly insane. But
Here
yeah,
we are.
yeah.
That's unfortunately as a platform, or had a platform for a while, and now he's doing his thing.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with our old buddy Andrew Tate.
Yeah, wonder what he listens to in prison. What if he listens to the Smiths?
That's a good. You know what he would he would probably say something like, "Oh, I don't listen to music because that's for weak
right.
men," or something like this. He would say
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, anything art related or creative is definitely would be a sign of weakness, 100%.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah. So,
That's amazing.
Whatever. Hey, more music for us, I guess, right?
Yep, more wealth for us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm excited to see what we cook up for our next episode. This was a fun
Me
one.
too. I have an idea, but I don't want to keep repeating. But we'll discuss BTS.
Okay, all right, perfect. Well, guys, if you got to the end, thanks for watching. Drop a comment below. Maybe let us know what you think about Joy Division. What you think about New Order, maybe your favorite songs, or if you think that I'm a dumbass and my opinion sucks, just let us know in the comments below, and we will shout you out and respond in our next episode.
The offer still stands. If you want Ice to listen to something, I guarantee he hasn't heard it. So if you have you have an idea, if you have something you think he should listen to or might enjoy or might really not enjoy, throw it out there.
Yeah, please, because like Dixon said, I've never heard it, guaranteed.
That was a fun one.
No, that was a fun one. But yeah, guys, we'll see you in the next one.
Peace.